Well, good evening and welcome to Queer News Tonight. This is the world's first and only LGBTQ plus daily evening television news, broadcasting live and available on demand. Available on all smart televisions, including Roku, Apple TV, Android TV, Amazon Fire, and of course, YouTube and Facebook. It's time to queer up the news. It's Monday, July 25th, 2022. It's 8 p.m. And we are live, and we are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. So many of your important stories we're going to tell this evening on Queer News Tonight.
This is the world's first live daily LGBTQ evening news show, literally out of the closet and into the headlines on Queer News Tonight with Al Ferguson.
I'm your anchor at Queer News Tonight, Al Ferguson, and this evening we bring you the news of and a perspective representing the LGBTQ plus community from South Florida, America, and across our planet.
This is the world's first and only unedited live LGBTQ plus evening news show. Whatever happens, you will see it and hear it.
Happening Out Television Network is a 501c3 nonprofit media platform in the television radio model of PBS and NPR, but for our LGBTQ plus community.
We are part of one of the largest LGBTQ plus media companies in America, Hotspots Magazine and Happening Out Television Network.
Our magazine is celebrating 36 years of the LGBTQ plus experience and our television news, talk and entertainment shows support our mission to educate the LGBTQ plus and broader community.
Well, let's begin by welcoming anchor FayWhat. She's a radio and television personality and has a popular blog and YouTube channel aiming to unite the L and the G together. She's a hostess and MC for many South Florida events, an animal activist, and owner of Fay's Fur Family. Also, make sure you catch the FayWhat Show, the first LGBTQ plus morning show, Mondays at 9 a.m. Eastern online or your smart TV on demand. Good evening, Faye.
Good evening, everyone. And I am so happy that we got back and we survived the LGBTQ plus Democratic caucus. It was a lot of fun. And I love the fact that you did all the heavy lifting, Al. You brought me in for the end for the fun brunch, and I think we should keep it like that from now on.
Right.
I'm just saying. All right, let's welcome anchor Dale Stine. So with a background in music and the arts, he's a well-known photographer, famous for his photographs of internationally acclaimed DJs, drag personas, and other very important entertainers, including me. He is presently the director of music ministry at Unity on the Bay, as well as moderator of South Florida's largest LGBTQ plus Facebook group, Miami Gay List, which can be now found on Instagram as well at GayListOfficial. An activist with multiple LGBTQ plus organizations, Dale is also currently vice chair of Miami Beach's Human Rights Committee. Good evening, Dale. Welcome back, Papa.
Oh, yes, thank you, Faye. And it's good to see everyone. I haven't been here in about a month. It's like a homecoming, a homocoming. Let me clarify that. Let's welcome anchor Dino Mosquera. He joined the Miami Gay Lesbian Film Festival in the late 90s and now serves on the Outshine Film Festival's board of directors. He is now the screening committee chair, selecting films for one of America's most important LGBTQ plus film festivals. Welcome, Dino. Welcome back from your trip.
Gracias, Dale. Let's welcome...
Did you just call him Dale?
Dale, yes. Let's welcome anchor Gregg Shapiro, an inductee into the Chicago LGBT Hall of Fame. Gregg is the author of 8 books, including his latest, Fear of Muses, an entertainment journalist whose celebrity interviews and music reviews run in a variety of regional LGBTQ plus and mainstream publications and websites. His movie review column called Screensaver can be found in South Florida, Gay News, San Francisco's Bay Area Reporter, RottenTomatoes.com, and more. Good evening, Gregg.
Good evening and happy National Merry-Go-Round Day, Mary.
Wow. Wait. We can't start the show without talking about your pearls, Mr. Gregg. How dare you wear those on a Monday? Why don't you wear them on a Wednesday when I could really make fun of you on one of the shows?
I'll be back Wednesday.
This is our news show.
Okay. Yeah.
We are the reporters for Queer News Tonight. And this evening, we begin with the queer headlines for Monday, July 25th.
Well, let's begin by querying up South Florida and Florida. Breaking news. Don't Say Gay student activist Will Larkins is afraid to start school because of DeSantis bullying. This week, one of the most notable student activists to fight Florida Governor Ron DeSantis' hateful Don't Say Gay law expressed great fear for what is next for him. Winter Park High School's Will Larkins made national and international headlines for his protest in Tallahassee at the Florida legislature and for his organization of the huge student walkout as more than 500 students chanted, "We Say Gay," in support of LGBTQ plus students in Florida. Larkins was a junior this spring during the Don't Say Gay protest that was an inspiration to other student activists across Florida. In an exclusive interview with Queer News Tonight, we learn Orange County schools will begin fall classes on August 10th, the first since the Don't Say Gay became law on July 1st. Larkins is among an estimated 200,000 LGBT students that will start school this academic year in Florida. In a chilling warning, Larkins says he is fearful of returning to Winter Park High School, and not because of what the Trevor Project says is the #1 reason for young LGBTQ suicide attempts: student bullying on other students. Larkins details his own suicide story, but says that the 2022 LGBTQ plus acceptance at Winter Park High School and schools in general have actually improved because of the anti-LGBTQ plus moves by the radical Republican legislature. It created other student allies. Larkins is concerned that he will now personally be a victim of bullying from Governor Ron DeSantis and his political allies that include parts of the administration of Orange County schools and even at Winter Park High School. Larkins explained to me that his top ally was an administrator that will not return to school this fall and now finds he won't have an advocate to help him and other LGBTQ plus identified students and keeping them safe. As we have reported at Queer News Tonight, Orange County schools have required removal of safe space stickers, anything identified with the LGBTQ plus community, and even the ability for an LGBTQ plus teacher to have a picture of their spouse in the classroom. The effects of this new law have a clear warning from one of the most visible LGBTQ plus student leaders in Florida: fear over what's next. Larkin promises more protests from Winter Park High School and from across Florida. But in this David versus Goliath battle against the 2024 presidential candidate, a lieutenant governor who said just yesterday that Florida schools would be, quote, teaching the ABCs, not the LGBTQs, end quote, the damage on Florida children will likely be substantial. Queer News Tonight will follow this developing story closely. You both have been in the forefront of the protests this year about what's happened in terms of woke and school books and Don't Say Gay. By the way, did you know when you return to Winter Park High School, you can't acknowledge you're gay? Don't say that.
I'll try my best, but I will not, and I will proudly break that law.
I want to start there. You return to Winter Park High School. We're all anticipating what's going to be the first implementation of Don't Say Gay as it has become law. What do you expect is going to happen when the school year starts?
I'm honestly afraid. Last year, seeing all the attacks on teachers and just seeing how hard it has been for teachers to do their job, I've had 2 teachers quit last year over the Don't Say Gay bill and similar legislation, and I anticipate that happening more and more. I anticipate students getting hurt more and more, because last year, before the Don't Say Gay bill, I was already being silenced by my administration and by my school system when I spoke out about the discrimination that I faced at my school, and now it will be worse.
Yeah.
And the people who harassed and bullied me last year are now going to be emboldened by the governor and by the legislature with this new law.
That is the first time in the Don't Say Gay movement that has happened in 2022 where I heard the phrasing, "we say gay." And it was an overwhelming moment as we watched that video where organized fashion of queer students and non-queer students saying "we say gay," not planned at all. It just organically happened.
I mean, me and Maddie led that. We started saying "we say gay," and it was like lighting a match and then throwing it into the matchbox. Suddenly, everyone was screaming it, and I mean, it was for me at least, such a pivotal moment, because 6 months previously, I was at my lowest. I was ready to kill myself after the bullying I'd endured at that school, and now that same school that had torn me down so much that I was not myself was chanting "we say gay" right back at me, 500 people. And, you know, I mean, it's obviously a much bigger issue than just myself, but that walkout changed my life.
And last question point to you, Will Larkins.
Yes.
You're getting ready to go back to Winter Park High School.
Good Lord.
Yeah, it's a big, deep breath of what you're getting ready to experience. Is it going to be good for you? Well, tomorrow I'm going to show you the entire interview with Will Larkins and Max Fenning from the Youth Advocacy Organization. And Larkins answers that question. His fear is to return to school. He also describes the moments of how "we say gay" has literally become a call to arms for David, our young LGBTQ plus students using a slingshot against the Goliaths of Governor DeSantis and GOP hate. You will learn why you can't count our LGBTQ children and allies out in this culture war as they are fighting for all of us.
Talk about the bravery that those kids have. Oh my God, he's 17 years old. And he's like, okay, you know what? I'm scared to go back to school. Okay, but are you going to continue the fight? Hell yeah, we're going to do more walkouts. We're going to do what needs to happen.
Well, you know, I mean, at that age, he's been growing up in a world that has been moving toward acceptance of gays. I mean, that's what we've been living with. You know, those of a certain age have been working on that our entire lives. So that's what he's used to. And now suddenly that's being taken away in a very harsh way.
I am shocked by the malice, that our governor, the governor of this state, and a young person, because he's a young man, can be so vile. He's becoming maybe an improved, in the worst sense, version of Donald Trump.
Don't say it.
Of Donald Trump.
Yeah, but don't you get the impression he was probably a bully in high school too, and he hasn't stopped? He's just a bully. That's what he does.
Yeah.
You know what's also, I was thinking about David Hogg in this while Larkin was on, because these young people are so inspirational, so motivating, and they really give me hope.
That's what's needed now. It's needed right now.
Well, you know what else is needed is for the parents of these children to stand up, okay? I was talking to a parent from Apopka, is that correct? Okay, so I was talking to a parent that has just hired a lawyer. And, you know, she told me that there's a Bill of Rights for students and that she doesn't feel that her gay child is going to get the adequate education that he deserves. So she's going to sue. More parents need to do that.
Fantastic,
More parents, but you know what she told me? I've been asking other parents to join me and they're afraid of DeSantis too. What in the living F?
Well, you know, you've got to make sure that you watch this full interview. We're going to show every unedited minute. We showed you a couple of highlights of things that he talks about. Max Fenning talks about going to Miami-Dade School Board last week, where Moms for Liberty are present, and they start screaming at Max Fenning the executive director, 20-year-old executive director of Prism, Florida, a nonprofit for student LGBT protection, start yelling at Max Fenning, 20-year-old, that he is a groomer and that he is a member of Antifa. And it got out of hand at the school board meeting, and they were removed from the school board meeting. But still, to attack and have our LGBTQ youth face this, what you hear Max Fenning and Will Larkins say in this interview is really quite incredible. The disappointing thing to me in this conversation that you also hear in this is clearly absolutely unbelievable of the quality of strength of activism for a 17-year-old and a 20-year-old. How many hundreds, thousands that are like Will Larkins or Max Fenning that do not have the ability to stand up and fight and defend themselves? That's the question that is going to be next. August 10th, when it starts in Orange County, and as this begins all over Florida, this gigantic, hateful presidential candidate who is a bully, we all have obligation to tell this story, to protest what is going on, because there are literally tens of thousands of LGBT students that will have no voice, will be bullied into a dark corner, and the Trevor Project is ringing a red alert bell of what the consequences of this is going to be. Max Fenning's appearance at Miami's school board meeting, not just in class or in school, is an example of what is ahead, and it's going to be tragic. I hope you watch the interview. It's quite amazing.
Next, let's queer up politics. LGBTQ plus Senator Baldwin confronts Florida's Marco Rubio on gay marriage stupid waste of time. On Thursday, Queer News Tonight reported on the comments made by Senator Marco Rubio on Twitter about the Respect for Marriage Act. Also, in an interview with Christian Hall from Punchbowl News, Senator Rubio had previously stated that gay people don't care about marriage, saying, quote, "I don't know why we're doing that bill. There's no threat to its status in America, but I know plenty of gay people in Florida that are pissed off about gas prices," end quote. On Wednesday, when speaking to reporters on his way to an elevator, Rubio said that the Respect for Marriage Act was a, quote, "stupid waste of time," end quote. Openly gay Senator Tammy Baldwin was on the elevator with him after he made those comments, and she recently spoke about her response on CNN.
Senator, well, what did you say when he got on the elevator?
Well, of course, I had to make an elevator pitch, right? I only had a short time, but he was kind of shocked, I think, to see me standing there after talking with your reporter. And I really did talk about why it's needed at this point in time, and why it's not a waste of time to the many gay and interracial couples that live in Florida. And what is, he's obviously not convinced, but I said, we'll be talking. But as you know, I am working very hard to identify a 60-vote majority in order to pass this legislation, to safeguard these rights, and I'm going to continue doing that job.
Wouldn't you have liked to have been on that elevator?
Oh, my goodness. No, seriously. And when did Marco Rubio become an expert on gay community and gay marriage and what we want, and that we're worried about gas prices? Are you freaking kidding me?
Well, but he known to have partied back in the day. Like, he didn't want the photos of the foam partying and stuff. That's
what we'll call it. When he was cruising that part of Loomis Park. Is that what you're saying? Yeah.
Well, so, I mean, I think he does probably know more than he wants to let on that he knows, but he's vile.
And Tammy Baldwin is truly a hero to LGBTQ plus people, as well as to the folks in her big state, where nutjob Ron Johnson is sucking up all the oxygen. So it's great to have her voice.
I don't know, by the way, breaking news over the weekend, Johnson has said he's going to vote for gay marriage, the Protection of Marriage Act.
Right.
He is.
In
So
the Senate.
both Wisconsin's votes are going to be supportive. Yeah.
Because they only need now.
Look at your surprised face.
I think they now only need like they've announced at least like
They're
5 votes.
five.
Yeah.
They're 5 away, and it's still a fight for sure.
I mean, it really is. Yeah, not to get too sidetracked, but it is shocking that that's something we're fighting for.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just appalling.
No, I mean, to have the nerve. I mean, many people will say, not me, but many people will say, talking and defending, the Cuban rights in the island, which Marco Rubio, has pretty much every day, will be a waste of time. Obviously, we don't feel that way. So how can you have the nerve to equate this, our struggle for recognition, as a stupid waste of time?
Such a fantastic observation, and the answer to that question is flatly because he doesn't care.
Yeah.
If it was a Cuban issue, he would, and he would say, of course, it's not a waste of time. The embargo for 50 plus years at times, and you can make great arguments, has been a spectacular waste of time. But he would never associate.
And that's the reason why he keeps getting elected. So.
And at the end of the day, let's talk about that a moment. And I rarely go out on such a limb. After all, anchor here at Queer News Tonight. Senator Marco Rubio is a spectacular hypocrite. Senator Marco Rubio is a spectacular liar. Period. Full stop. Liar. First off, you should start to show up for voting in Washington, and you would be a better Florida senator. You are a gaslighter to suggest I know gay people. Now, I could follow Faye's joke easily, and I won't do that because Faye made the joke pretty well. But at the end of the day, you know absolutely nothing about the gay community. And the proof of that is for you to suggest gay people don't care about this issue. Are you a moron? You must be a moron. Coming from South Florida, one of the largest LGBTQ communities in America, marriage is central. He goes on to say, the reason it was a stupid thing to focus on is because marriage is not at play. Did you listen to Clarence Thomas?
Certainly not.
You are a liar. And the other thing that really aggravates me about this radical, crazy GOP end, he's at the worst of the GOP. The thing that drives me crazy about it is because they lie. He makes the argument that we don't need the Equality Act because the Civil Rights Act in the 1960s protects all of us. He uses the exact same thing, the same argument here, that gay marriage is not up for discussion. You're a liar, which is the reason why you say it. The Supreme Court ruled 5-4. You went along with stuffing the court to turn it to 6-3, denying Obama the rightful ability to have a nomination. The court is now 6-3. We might win gay marriage today 5-4 if Roberts votes yes. That's only if he votes yes. If he, in the possibility of voting no, gay marriage would be reversed in America because Clarence Thomas sets it on its ear. States' rights are more important than federal rights, and don't even get us into, well, that would nullify your marriage from 1967. Marco Rubio is a liar. Period, the end. And there is only one thing to do when you're faced with a liar like Marco Rubio, is to vote them out. Now, I hope the Democrats have a good, strong law enforcement candidate that was a police chief in Orlando, because Marco Rubio, your days are numbered.
And she shows up.
She's coming for you.
Well, Al, thank you for that. Now, we queer up drag culture. RuPaul's Drag Race announces another new version. Here's how 2022 will show out.
Who's RuPaul?
While some in the community are suffering from Drag Race burnout, it's looking like Mama Ru isn't going to stop until every shopping mall in the obscure corner of the world has its own Drag Race spinoff. Okay, 2022 has already seen RuPaul's Drag Race season 14, RuPaul's Drag Race UK versus the World, Drag Race España season 2, and the Drag Race All Stars season 7. But there's even more on the way. RuPaul's Secret Celebrity Drag Race season 2 is confirmed for this year, as is RuPaul's Drag Race Down Under season 2, Drag Race Belgique, Canada's Drag Race season 3, Drag Race France, RuPaul's Drag Race UK season 4, Drag Race Italia season 2, Drag Race Philippines, Drag Race Thailand season 3. Don't know that language. Canada's Drag Race Canada versus the World, and last but not least, Drag Race Sweden. We hope the cosmetic and synthetic hair companies are ready for the global increase in demands for makeup and wigs.
Yay.
Woohoo! Wow. I'm sorry, this has been the best season of All Stars that I have ever seen, like of all seasons included. I mean, oh my God,
Amazing.
Monet Exchange singing opera?
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
What, girl? Okay, but I did not like the celebrity one. The celebrity one that they had last time. I didn't know any of the celebrities, and I was like, who are you? And I didn't enjoy it.
It was worse than dining with what that dancing
with the
they were like season 77.
Yeah.
Where they're like people like who?
Give it a chance.
That?
I think season 2 is going to surprise you.
You think so?
I do.
Are you on it, Al?
And there's been some dissing about the All-Star season because a lot of people were unhappy with the most recent episode.
I'm not.
About how the rules changed. Rules at her own whim. Well, it's her show. She can give her whatever she wants.
She could give him 14 stars if she wants to.
I was like, why are people getting so up in arms about this?
Because we are the viewers. We're watching.
Do you feel the same way?
I feel that way. She changed the rule basically to put.
And you didn't expect that coming?
Well, no, I thought.
Come on, Papito.
There were some
you have gotten way too much sun, Dino Mosquera.
There were so many other people that were deserving to be in the finale, and she changed the rule to put.
I thought that rule, but I thought the shadiest rule was making Monet. That was beyond shady.
I want to make the most obvious observation. The fact that y'all are arguing over that
right there
is the victory of RuPaul's Drag Race All Stars season 7.
Meanwhile, in other queer entertainment news, Grammy-winning lesbian Brandi Carlile brought Joni Mitchell. I'm gonna start crying on stage with her at the Newport Folk Festival. That's something else you should watch.
Can you talk to Rue and get her to bring Joni Mitchell?
I want to.
Ooh, I love that idea.
I want to say one other historical reference to this story. You do the story, and it's kind of tongue-in-cheek of this show and this show and this show and this show. There's a couple of cultural things that I think is interesting, and I can give you one perspective. RuPaul's Drag Race in season 4, you remember season 1, right? Why are you so proud of this, RuPaul? Season 4 came and something kicked in. Michelle kicked in. The whole show kicked in. Season 5 came and it was like, holy, a train just hit America. Season 6 was they smashed it out of the park. I was being told with the RuPaul cruise all over the world, everybody around me was saying, it's so done, it's been done, it's over, it's done. And everyone convinced me after season 7 to come out. Season 14, All-Stars season 7. The reason I cheered is all of my, and it isn't, because I'm so happy for them, but all of my friends that told me it's done, it's done, it's done. Up to 7 years ago,
are they still your friends?
Going like Cheshire Cat going, I wonder what's going on in the Ru universe now.
Right.
The other thing that I think is really terrific about this, so good for all of LGBT, RuPaul's victory, RuPaul's Drag Race victory is a victory for all of us, our entire community, and visibility. The reporting that she's likely in 2022 going to make $9 million. That's her salary this year. And that her net worth is at least $60 million. That's great for the entire community. Do you remember when drag queens were, a step above of what people in the conservative circles would say were prostitutes? And the most visible drag queen in the world has literally slayed the planet.
She's come a long way since that B-52's music video.
That's exactly
I thought you were
right.
going to tell me she was going to run for president again.
Oh, she's going to run for the Senate race in Florida.
Yeah.
And then there'll be 2 queens running.
Guess which one?
It's getting hard to keep up for me on those shows. So
We're very proud of the news.
we are. Now let's square up business. Twitter bans calling people groomers, calling it anti-LGBTQ hate speech. In 1985, the Chicago Tribune used the term groomer to reference sex offenders training their victims to become sexual partners. In the internet chat rooms of the late 90s, that definition of the word became even more popular. Recently, however, right-wing conspiracy theorists have begun to use the term when referencing anyone in the LGBTQ plus community in an attempt to scare people into thinking all members of that community are pedophiles. Due to this usage, social media platforms such as Reddit, Facebook, and TikTok have banned the use of the term when referencing LGBTQ plus individuals. Twitter confirmed last week that they have also added the term to their list of hate speech under its hateful conduct policy. In a statement sent to the Daily Dot, a Twitter spokesperson wrote, quote, "We are committed to combating abuse motivated by hatred, prejudice, or intolerance, particularly abuse that seeks to silence the voices of those who have been historically marginalized. For this reason, we prohibit behavior that targets individuals or groups with abuse based on their perceived membership in a protected category." End of quote. The press secretary for Ron DeSantis, Christina Pusha, tweeted, "Groomer isn't an anti-LGBTQ slur. It's a description of an evil behavior that seeks adults of all sexual and gender identities engage in. Why do you conflate this behavior with LGBTQ plus?" End of quote. Pusha has recently used the term to describe members of the LGBTQ plus community who oppose the parental rights in education bill, commonly referred to as Don't Say Gay.
Well, Pshaw, Miss Pushaw, I didn't realize blow-up dolls had opinions. And yes, Twitter, that might be hate speech.
That is hate speech.
and sexist. But, okay.
But she did get some work done that didn't go well with her. I mean, I have to mention that. I'm sorry, I was going to stay quiet on that girlfriend, but you're kind of an asshole.
Wow, that took a left turn. That whole. Okay.
No,
what was that story about now?
Twitter actually liking us. So Elon Musk doesn't own Twitter, right?
Yeah,
that still hasn't happened because that might change.
By the way, he's getting ready, and everyone's saying he's going to lose the lawsuit. He's going to pay $1 billion.
Oh, you think
penalty.
so?
Yep.
Well, I mean, he really did. Yeah, it sounds like he probably will lose that. But yeah, I'm very pleased at this. There were some things I read that they were kind of iffy, like, well, why didn't they take this tweet down and they left that one up? But I think it's a very specific niche they're keeping it in because the word groomer has been, it's a word that's been around a long time. Mm-hmm. So and these Republicans are the ones who have just attached it to us.
Yeah.
We didn't do it.
It wasn't until recently that we couldn't even say the word.
It's mostly associated to heterosexual pedophiles.
Yeah, like Matt Gaetz.
That's right.
Can we talk about him? What were those Twitters that he was putting up? I was looking everywhere for it. Okay, you can't say certain things, but you could be a nasty bully, nasty against women on Twitter. He put some things about, he put a larger woman up on, and he said, like, she's got no way that anyone's going to impregnate this woman. These are the women that are out there marching and protesting. I'm one of the women that's out there marching and protesting, by the way, Mr. Maddie. Yeah. And it's incredible that he's able to put things like that on Twitter. Right. Disgusting, vile things towards women.
Misogynist, he's horrible.
It's our world. DeSantis, I applaud Twitter. Anything that you do that is removing accounts, suspending accounts for hate speech against any marginalized community. I thought that their press release was very on point. They were very clear to say that we have a liberal interpretation for marginalized communities. That's an important standard. They're providing extra protection for marginalized communities. The last time I read, rich old white men are not a marginalized community. And so as a result, you don't get the same protection as marginalized communities do. Me complaining about how I'm responded to in social media is completely different than somebody that is a black trans female in social media. They're completely separate. And you're dumb and you don't even realize that. But specifically on Christina Pushaw, you really are despicable. You're just, there's nothing that you can't characterize it in any other way. You even ask your question about the definition of groomer as why would LGBT criticize it and imply that we're groomers because we've criticized it. That is called gaslighting. Christina Pushaw, you are a terrible human being. Another example of that. You make the argument as the press secretary that even questioning the Don't Say Gay law makes you a groomer. Excuse me. The argument of very intelligent, academically educated, very smart people are saying this bill is terrible because it focuses on gender identity in kindergarten. And you couldn't show a single example of gender identity in kindergarten in Florida. So when there's criticism of the vagueness of this bill, for you to gaslight and deflect to say, well, if you say that, you are now a groomer of kindergartners, is an indication of how despicable of a human being you are. The other big argument that Chev Jones and Carlos Guillermo Smith and Michelle Rayner pointed out is that the slippery slope of this is going to be gigantic. And what has happened after July 1? You can't have a picture of your wife, your same-sex wife, or your same-sex husband in Orange County schools. It seems to me that was the slippery slope that they were talking about. And instead of focusing on reasonable, political, academic argument, you focused on, oh, if you say that, you must be a groomer. You're despicable. And Twitter calls you out for how despicable you are.
Bravo, Twitter. Next, let's queer up the worldview. Cuba will hold historic referendum on same-sex marriage and adoption in September. On Friday, Cuba's National Assembly approved an update to their family laws, which include greater protection for women's rights, LGBTQ+ rights, and children. The new laws include the extension of marriage to same-sex couples and allow individuals other than a child's biological mothers and fathers to be recognized as parents. In 2019, Cubans voted on a new constitution that bans discrimination based on gender, but marriage protections were removed before the vote. The vote is scheduled for September 25th, and at least 50% of the Cuban population will have to vote for the referendum for it to pass.
Wow, I can't believe that countries like Cuba are going forward. Right? And like now we're looking at Cuba, it's like, wow, we wish we were there. How does that happen? How did that happen, folks? Please explain that to me.
That's on point.
You said what I was thinking.
Dios mío,
hey,
Al.
we're wishing we were in Havana.
We're only 90 miles away.
Yeah, I wonder what their black Supreme Court justice married to a white woman is saying in Havana tonight.
It really, but your point is, I mean, that says it all. I mean, really, what else is to say?
Like, I'm happy for them and I'm happy for our Cuban brothers and sisters.
Oh,
but
yay
like,
for them.
Wow.
I wouldn't be, I mean, to me, this is all propaganda. I mean, just.
Oh, no, explain. Why do you think that is?
I do think that this kind of movement, and I think I mentioned this before in another show, we talked about Cuba before. You know, Cubans are fighting for their freedom, and if they go out to protest, they get arrested, like last year, in July of last year. So for them to just pass this, just to appear to be socially progressive to the eyes of the world, while their opposition and their activists are being arrested in Cuba, to me is just like, yeah, I wish it was true. I wish that our brothers and sisters in Cuba have the same gays, lesbians, transgender, all of them in Cuba have the same rights that we have here.
For now.
But I wish that, yeah, for now. But I wish that their people in general, the large, society at large, have the same rights that we have here, and they are crashing that. So to me, it's like a backhanded.
Dino, let me just for clarity, because I understand exactly what you just said. Cuba has a repression, authoritarian controlled government and military system in Cuba, acknowledged. But it seems to me this issue doesn't have anything to do with that. And the reason I ask you this, in terms of the point that you just made, is this isn't the National Congress making this decision. This isn't the president for political points, whatever he thinks he would get around the world. This is, we're putting in front of the populace of Cuba to vote in September, and it must be 50%. Would you accept a man and a man being married? Would you accept a man and a man adopting a child? That's the majority of the people of Cuba. It is a, God forbid, and I know Marco Rubio's head's getting ready to explode, but Cuba is doing a democratic vote on what the people of Cuba think about gay marriage and gay adoption. Why isn't that in and of itself?
I wish they do the same. The voting, the electoral body does the same when they submit.
You're conflating two different issues. But I agree with you.
Right, but
I agree they're authoritarian. But set the authoritarian issue aside. That has
it's propaganda. This is, to me, it's propaganda. It's to appear to the world like, yes, look, we're giving them the right to vote. Well, let's give them the right to vote for who they want them to be their president.
Why can't it be acceptable that the people of Cuba get to decide what they think about gay marriage and gay adoption? And in and of itself, that is desirable. Why must it be, oh wait, no, we're going to reject that because it's not everything?
Could it be a first step?
No, because I think that they would rather vote for their freedom first. I mean, to be honest, I mean, I'm not Cuban and I don't live there, okay, but freedom comes first. I mean, the fact that you could marry your wife or your...
It doesn't work that way in Venezuela. They're both authoritarian regimes. It doesn't work that way in Iran. It doesn't work that way anymore in Russia. Those are facts. You're absolutely right. It is terrible. But in this instance, the majority of Cubans are getting ready to make the decision of whether they want to accept gay marriage.
Again, I have nothing
let me
against.
Flip it. Let me do it in a different way. Would you say, no, cancel September 25th, don't let them vote?
No, I'm not saying that, but I will say if you want to be send a message. They don't want to.
They don't care. Cuba has never cared about this. The Castro family, Mariela Castro, I've been involved in this for a long, long time in Cuba. They do not care. They're Ron DeSantis and Donald Trump on steroids. They do not care about that. That's why the embargo has never worked. They don't care. Venezuela does not care. Chavez never cared in Venezuela. And for us to approach it from the standpoint, I'm just asking.
I'm telling you.
How did
I'm telling you.
Okay.
You keep asking me, I keep telling you.
Okay.
But, you have to also look from my point of view. I come from a country that basically is been going through the same process that they have been going through for the last 62 years. And if you look into the Venezuelan situation right now, they're also trying to pass this, protective measures for the gay community. But the gays go out and protest and they get arrested, political prisoners. And then they are arrested for months and months. So this is for them to appear to the world that they've been opening their policies and, by giving them rights to the population. It's propaganda.
I mean, I've heard propaganda. Let me ask it in a different way. I'm just challenging, you and I we're friends. So I'm challenging.
They slept together twice.
So,
really,
I had to break it, man. I had to break it up.
So if they go out and vote for gay marriage on September 25th, and the majority of residents in Cuba vote for it and gay adoption, The next day, we're going to go, and we'll agree with Marco Rubio. We hate Cuba leadership, the military, the politics, but we got gay marriage. Would that be sufficient for you in terms of what you're saying? It's completely propaganda, but we're glad we got gay marriage.
I'm all for what the people choose. I mean, even for the Cuban people to choose, I'm all for that. Yeah. I'm all for, giving them the right to vote. But the right to vote means the right to vote. It's not just you don't pick and choose what you get to vote for.
That's a little bit different than how you started, because I do see that point.
Okay, are you girls done?
You guys want a private room?
We're passionate about Cuba and gay rights.
I just want to make sure. Right. Okay. Next, we are very proud of our special partnership with Sunshine Cathedral, the world's largest queer church here in Fort Lauderdale. Supporting that partnership, we are broadcasting from our permanent set here at Sunshine Cathedral at the Happening Out television studios. We broadcast Sunshine Cathedral Sunday International Service at 10:30 a.m. with more than 30,000 watching every week.
Johnson.
I'm Dean Trantalis, the mayor of the city of Fort Lauderdale. They say the gayest place on planet Earth, and Sunshine Cathedral is my queer church.
I know the value of the support that comes from all corners.
Well, that is today's news for the LGBTQ plus community on the world's first and only daily LGBTQ plus evening news show.
If our community is important to you, share this news with your friends and family. Are you, like most of America, part of our very large television audience watching this live LGBTQ plus news show broadcast right now on Roku, Apple TV, Android TV, and Amazon Fire TV?
Queer News Tonight is the only live LGBTQ plus digital television show in the world that is out of the closet and into the headlines. We need your support.
If our community is to grow, we must tell our stories and bring them to the attention of the broader world.
This is the only place in the world that tells these types of LGBTQ plus stories in motion and sound. That is the passion of Hotspots Magazine, happening on television network and Queer News Tonight.
I'm your anchor, Al Ferguson, and on behalf of these LGBTQ plus reporters, the anchors of Queer News Tonight, including FayWhat, Dale Stine, Gregg Shapiro, and Dino Mosquera. We will see you daily at 8 p.m. And to our LGBTQ plus world, we wish you a good night.
Good night.
LGBTQ plus news is vital for our community and for the broader world as a whole. We have enough enemies at Fox News. Tucker, Sean, and Laura are loud. We need passionate allies. Happening Out Television Network, Queer News Tonight, and It's Happening Out are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. Our community needs your support. Like this broadcast and subscribe now